thank you very much indeed for joining us. And if we can just start by looking not at the numbers, but at the phone hacking scandal. Did it overshadow this event, or have world events moved on so quickly that that really is yesterday's news?
Well, I don't think it's yesterday's news. You know, investors in the U.S. are following the developments reasonably closely. And I think there's still more to go on the story. We certainly haven't heard the last of the hacking scandal, I don't think.
Now, when Rupert Murdoch appeared here in the UK at the House of Commons, there were concerns that he didn't look like he was on top of his game in the way he'd done in the past. There was even talk that maybe it was time that he was replaced at the top of News Corp. Is that off the agenda now?
Well, I think in the earnings call last night, Mr. Murdoch suggested that he plans to stay at the helm both as chairman and CEO. And so I think most investors in the U.S. anticipate that Mr. Murdoch will continue to run News Corp for the foreseeable future.
And how do they feel about that? Is there a sense that that is the right move?
Well, there's another media mogul by the name of John Malone that runs a company called Liberty Media here in the U.S. And I think he has perhaps the most famous line as it relates to Mr. Murdoch. He said that half of News Corp shareholders are afraid Mr. Murdoch will die. The other half are afraid he'll live. I think what that sentiment reflects is a very mixed view on the part of the street about whether Mr. Murdoch is good or bad for News Corp.
Indeed. Now, News Corp, aside from this scandal, which is rumbling on and could have repercussions as it goes further and the investigation goes on, does also face challenges on a number of fronts, not least cable issues in the US. We've also got falling newspaper circulation. Are there some downside risks for this stock?
Well, I think there's downside risks for any stock. I would say that the way the street is increasingly looking at News Corp is the upside potential is greater than the downside risk. The downside risks from declining newspaper circulation, some of the other slower growing businesses have been managed by News Corp, where the operating income in those businesses is either flat or actually growing. The upside potential from News Corp comes from their cable networks division, which is growing very healthily and has lots of room for additional expansion, as well as what they call retransmission fees, which are incremental fees they'll get for the Fox broadcast signal. And those are incremental monies that will be paid by the cable and satellite operators here in the U.S.
So where are you expecting this stock to go in the midterm price-wise? And what about investors? Should they be looking to buy this stock or hold it if they've got it?
Well, News Corp is actually our top pick right now. And the reason I find it so interesting is not that the uncertainty has been removed. It's that I think the stock goes higher no matter what scenario unfolds from here. And what do I mean by that? You know, one scenario plays out where the News of the World scandal sort of fades to the background. News Corp ultimately takes the cash on its balance sheet and tries to buy the balance of B-Sky B it doesn't own. That would be very positive for the stock. If you look back, that's when News Corp was trading at $18 a share. The street likes B-Sky B. They would like News Corp to own more of it. The second scenario is that news essentially runs into much deeper problems than we know of today, and they may in fact be forced to divest assets. The assets the street is talking about are the TV stations here in the U.S. where the FCC could revoke their licenses, and maybe they'd have to sell the 39% stake in B-Sky B they own today. If those happen, News Corp would receive a tremendous amount of cash that would just add to the cash that's on the balance sheet today. And so that would then spur, we think, more incremental buybacks. And so the way I look at it is we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but under either of the two extreme scenarios, News Corp stock should trade higher.
Interesting insight. Thank you so much indeed for sharing it with us.